Hello everybody and welcome back to my podcast, Esme's Country Life. In today's episode, I'm going to be talking to you all about how I did a triathlon, kind of. I'm also going to be talking to you about how I absolutely embarrassed myself at our local leisure centre by screaming in public, as well as being harassed on my run. But anyway, before we begin, I just want to say a huge thank you to the sponsor of the podcast, Red Post. Red Post is an equestrian and country store based in the UK, but they also ship all over the world. And the day that this podcast episode comes out is the day that I'm at Red Post. So I know I've been saying that for the last couple of podcast episodes, but you never know. You can listen to it on the way home after you've gone and seen me. But anyway, the exciting news is that you might be able to see what I'm wearing if you are watching it on video format. If not, don't worry, audio listeners, I will describe it for you. I'm actually wearing the new autumn-winter collection by Lemieux. The colour that I'm wearing at the moment in a quarter zip is the new cranberry, which I absolutely love. It's like a reddy pink colour. But if you're looking to buy some of the new autumn-winter collection, then do you know where you can get it? redpostequestrian.co.uk. Anyway, huge thank you to Red Post for sponsoring the podcast and for having me. I have a great time always at Red Post, but thank you for having me for my meet and greet. But anyway, let's get into today's podcast episode, because I was talking to my friend about this and she just messaged me randomly the other day after seeing because obviously I posted about this on my story, and she just said, Esme, you really are just doing side quests at this point. She was like, did you do a triathlon the other day? Now, I kind of did a triathlon. Well, I mean, I kind of, not really, but yes at the same time. So let me tell you what I did on Saturday. So as you guys know, I have been, the RDA, or the Riding for the Disabled Association, is a charity really close to my heart that I've been working with and promoting on my channel for many, many years now. I think since like 2019, I want to say, basically since I started all of this, like a long time. I filmed at some of their centres. I've gone to the national championships and given out prizes many, many years. Anyway, they're an incredible charity and they're great fun to work with. So I actually got in contact. They got in contact with me, the team from Park Lane Stables, because they had two kids at their stables that were taking part in the Marvel Superhero Triathlon. Now, the little backstory about what that is was I hadn't really heard of it before. But then I did a little internet search and I was like, oh wow, this is a big thing, because not only is it a triathlon, and it's sponsored by Marvel, which is pretty cool. But also it's filmed for Channel 4. They had Claire Balding there doing the presenting. Like, it is a big thing. They had like TV cameras everywhere. So anyway, I looked this up and I was like, yes, of course I'd love to come and help. So the way that it works is the children with disabilities that take part, they are the superheroes. So they are the like main people competing. And then they asked me to be one of the sidekicks. So basically I was the person helping them out, cheering them on, being a good sport. So the lady that I was paired up with, her name is Sophie. So shout out to Sophie. Sophie, honestly, like I've never like properly met her before. I think maybe once or twice we'd like kind of like bumped into each other at horse shows. But oh my gosh, she is just, if you could think of like good vibes as a person, we got along so well. Like the whole day we were chatting away. It was so much fun. Now what I didn't know is that Sophie, like before the triathlon, I was like, oh, have you done any triathlons before? Like that kind of thing. And she was like, oh yeah, I do the Special Olympics. I was like, okay. So I was here like, oh, I'm glad I've been going on my runs and things lately, because honestly, the whole time I was like just struggling to keep up with her. She was rapid. So anyway, we arrived, met the team, got in our matching t-shirts, which had a little green superhero logo on and the RDA logo, and had all like the donate on the back. It was super, super cool. We also had our little superhero masks as well. It was really good fun. Lots of people dressed up as well in proper like superhero costumes. It was honestly one of the most fun days I think I've had this year. It was excellent. So anyway, met the team. Then we had a safety briefing, because obviously these things, health and safety. And then I wasn't really sure how much I think Park Lane Stables and the RDA were like, oh yeah, come along, help. Like, and obviously I knew that one part of the triathlon was swimming. Now I didn't know how much they wanted me to take part in. I think they were a little bit like, yeah, come and help. And they didn't really want to ask me like, Esme, would you like to swim in a lake in your wetsuit. So you guys know me. I love swimming. If there's a body of water, I'm jumping in it and I'm swimming. So I was like, I'm going to bring my swimming costume and my wetsuit just in case. Bring my wetsuit out of retirement. So anyway, I'm glad I did, because they were like, oh, well, if you've got your wetsuit and you want to take part and help out in the swimming part of the triathlon, you can. I think they're very much like, you don't have to. I was like, you guys know me. I'm a get stuck in, throw me in the deep end, let's go sort of person. So anyway, I arrived, quickly whipped on my wetsuit, and also I had to wear a swimming cap as well. Now, I have never worn a swimming cap in my life. I don't know how to put this on. So Daffodil, my dad, was like filming me putting on my swimming cap. I looked like an absolute egghead, and I wasn't even sure how to put it on as well, because I wasn't sure, like, does it go over your ears? Does it go under your ears? Anyway, I was just glad to have the swimming cap, because I was going to say the pond. There was a lot of pondweed in the water, actually. But the lake, or it was definitely more of a lake than a pond. It was huge. If you didn't know, because I didn't really, well, obviously I did a bit of research. Don't worry. I wasn't just going into this blind, but I was like, okay, I need to know a little bit. But I didn't realise until we got there, basically, that the lake that it was in, this is quite a famous lake. So a lot of you have probably heard of the very famous, very fancy school in England called Eton. Well, basically this lake belonged to Eton, and it was not 1, but I'm pretty sure it was 2 kilometres long. It was like the longest kind of strip of water I've seen in my life. And it was also famous because it had some little Olympic rings by it, because that was in the 2012 Olympic Games, that was the lake that they used for the rowing races. But also, apparently that's just what Eton use, on a casual Friday afternoon or whatever, to, practice their rowing. So, yeah, that was next level. So anyway, we're driving through Eton, and I was like, oh, wow, this place is Hogwarts. This place is fancy. So anyway, we arrived, met the team, had our safety briefing, got my wetsuit on, and then it was time to walk on down. Oh yeah, the other person who was part of our team as part of Park Lane Stables and the RDA is Woody, who has Down syndrome, and he was also so lovely, such a cool kid, so much fun. He was so excited as well, and we honestly had a blast. So we kind of split into 2 teams. There was kind of Sophie as a superhero, who I kind of stuck with for most of the time, and I was her kind of sidekick, and then there was Woody's team and Woody's sidekick. So the plan for Woody was he was supposed to go on like a little raft for the kind of swimming part of the triathlon, but he just jumped in the water. He just went for it. Obviously, luckily he did have like a life jacket on and everything. But yeah, he just went for it. So good on Woody. But anyway, then it was time for me and Sophie and a few other members of our team to get into the water. And I'm not gonna lie, the worst part was the waiting. It's the anticipation. Like, we were just like, they were like, okay, you can get in the water, you can kind of acclimatise, get used to it, and kind of like bobbing along. And the thing that was a little bit freaky was, because obviously this was in a big lake. This was, open water. You can't touch the bottom. It's very different to being in like a normal swimming pool where you can see what's at the bottom of the water. You can touch the floor. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's different. So anyway, we were just like there waiting, and every now and again a bit of pondweed or something would touch your leg. And it was a bit freaky. And Sophie the whole time was saying, like, it felt like anybody who has watched Harry Potter, it felt like, oh, what's the lake called? I haven't seen it. Every Christmas, me and my family watch it, but it's been a while. Is it called like the Black Lake or something like that? You know, the lake where they have the Wizard tournament? That is what it felt like. We were like, oh, it feels like there's going to be like some mermaids or something. Or, I don't know, the Loch Ness Monster is going to be in here. So anyway, there was a bit of a panic when we first got in the water, but it's okay. Held Sophie's hand, everything was calm, all good. And then it was our time to go. And when I tell you, she was off. Sophie was zooming away, so that it was supposed to be me and another girl kind of swimming along with her. The other girl got left behind. So anyway, I was like just about keeping up with Sophie. She was absolutely going for it. So I was, glad that I've been doing my swimming practice at the gym and everything, because if not, I would have been absolutely gassing out. So luckily I do have a level of fitness. So anyway, did our swimming, was over so quickly. I did get quite a bit of pond water in my mouth though, but luckily I'm all good. The next day I was thinking, oh, am I gonna have some issues from swallowing a bit of pond water? But no, all was well. So anyway, as soon as we got out the water, I quickly helped Sophie get out of her wetsuit, which I've never really thought about this before, because obviously I've heard of triathlons, that kind of thing, but obviously I didn't know too much about it. I've seen people do it online and things, but I didn't really realise that you go from one thing to another to another. It's not like you do your swimming, that's timed, and then you have like a little rest while you get changed into your cycling. No, you're wearing your cycling stuff underneath your wetsuit. So anyway, I was quickly helping Sophie out of her wetsuit, out of her swimming cap, getting her cycling stuff on, and then boom, she was on the bike and gone. So anyway, the cycling part, she was just off. She went and did that on her own. Anyway, so while she was doing that, I quickly jumped into a portaloo next door, got into all of my running stuff. Now, when I tell you, getting changed in a portaloo is difficult enough as it is, but getting changed in again, I'm talking about toilets on the podcast, I apologise, but getting changed in a portaloo from a wetsuit, I mean, getting in and out of a wetsuit is difficult enough, but in a small confined space while you're soggy as well, that was a challenge in itself. So anyway, I was rushing as quickly as I could. And I had leggings on as well, which putting leggings on when you're a bit damp, that's a struggle in itself. So anyway, I was having a right old palaver in this toilet trying to get changed. As soon as I was done, I can see Sophie was on her way back home. She was on the homeward stretch and I was like, oh my goodness. So anyway, she jumped off her bike and then it was time to do our run. So we were running along, and I would say one of my favourite things about this competition was just how lovely everyone was, because normally when you think of like especially horsey competitions, people can be a little bit nasty, a little bit, you know, that like kind of competitive nastiness, you know what I mean. There was none of that at this competition. Everyone was cheering on everyone. Obviously there were quite a few people that we overtook as well, because again, Sophie was absolutely going for it. So as we were overtaking people, we were cheering them on. Everyone was cheering us on. It was just such a lovely experience. Anyway, at the end, we crossed the finishing line. Sophie got a medal. I also got given a medal, which I definitely did not deserve, but I didn't really, I had it over my head before I could be like, no, this isn't for me. So anyway, we had so much fun. We got our little photos with our medals as well. And yeah, well done. I just like huge well done to Sophie. So anyway, by the time we'd finished, we then went round and it was our time to kind of cheer Woody on. So Woody was doing his cycling, and this was probably one of the funniest parts of the day, because obviously Woody was going for it. He wanted to win this race, and he was cycling. He was on a what's it called? A bike with three wheels, a tricycle. There we go. He was on a tricycle, and the last bit of the cycling part of the event was downhill, so he got some speed up. He got some momentum up, and he was going for it. And I don't think he quite realised that he needed to get off his bike and go on to the running part of the section. So he was pedaling as fast as he could, and we were all going, Woody, you need to stop now. Woody, slow down. Zoomed past us. And then there was one of the team members of Park Lane Stables. She basically just had to run to catch up with Woody. When I say run, this lady was sprinting. She was sprinting as fast as her legs could go, was trying to like hold onto the bike to press the brakes to stop Woody. And Woody was having a great, he just thought, oh, I need to go as fast as I can. And we were like, no, Woody, slow down. Anyway, luckily Woody did stop before he ran over any of the people that were running at the running part of the race. And then, yeah, again, the running part of the race, it was over before we even finished. Sophie and I we were like, oh, it's going to be a while until he comes back, and we got some photos, and then turned around and he was crossing the finishing line. We were cheering him on. So honestly, it was such a fun day, and I'm pretty sure the Just Giving page is still live while I'm recording this podcast episode. So if you click the link in my bio on any of my social medias, I have a link tree with all the different links, and I'm pretty sure the Just Giving page should be there. So if each one of you just donates £1 or $1, whatever currency you're in, then hopefully we can smash our target to raise money for the RDA and for Park Lane Stables as well. So just want to say a huge thank you to everybody who has donated. It was such an incredible day. Also, pretty cool, got to meet Claire Balding as well, which was quite fun. Who, if you didn't know, she is a big TV presenter. She was there doing some stuff with the RDA as well, obviously as an equestrian too. So that was pretty cool. Got some photos with her. honestly, it was such a fun day because I was also on that same day invited to a horse show or an event where I would have sat in the VIP with lots of posh people and dressed up and that kind of thing. And I had the choice of either doing that or going and doing a triathlon with the RDA. And I definitely chose the better option because I had so much fun. Why would I want to sit in a posh VIP bit when I could be jumping in a lake in a wetsuit? Which my dad was like, oh, was it a bit cold in the lake? And like, let's just say I was glad I had my wetsuit on because he's got a video of me getting into the lake and I kind of go, ooh, I do like my ooh kind of face. But I have been doing my cold showers at the gym. So again, I've been in preparation. I've been in training for this. But I have a really busy couple of months coming up because, as I said before, the autumn winter collection is out. It is now autumn, and do you know what's happening this autumn? I have my book tour because I'm getting so many questions about that because yes, book 4 is on the way. Pretty sure it's October the 3rd that it's out. But I am doing a book tour all across the UK and also Ireland as well. So if you go on my link tree as well, there will be a link on my website, thisesme.com. There'll be more information about my book tour where you can book tickets to come along, sign the book, have a little chat, have a little catch up. But also I'm going to be at the Blenheim Palace International Horse Trials, which this year is also the European Championship. So that is definitely going to be one to watch, which I'm so excited for. And I also have a discount code for you all. If you have not got tickets yet, the code is ESME20 for 20% off. So go and use that. Come along to Blenheim. It's going to be a good one. And I'm going to be there on the Saturday. So for meet and greets, also going to be doing a live Q&A. So that'll be good fun. But before I forget, as we've come to a little bit of a natural break, we need to do comment of the week because for some reason I always forget comment of the week and I'm so sorry. It's one of my favourite things to do. I always look through the comments. Now, if you don't know what comment of the week is, basically each week on the podcast, I give you a question, or normally I talk about some sort of random topic. It's not always toilets. I apologise. But this week's comment of the week has got 14 interactions. So this one is definitely the top one. I normally do more than one because, I don't know, we have such a lovely community and I love hearing what you guys are up to during the week or your stories as well as me because, I don't know, I feel like when I listen to podcasts, it feels like you're on like FaceTime with a friend, have a little catch up, that kind of thing of what we've been up to that week. So this one is from Evie, and Evie says, because in last week's podcast episode, I was talking about being in London and the absolutely wild bus drivers out there. And Evie says, I was on a bus with my friends and we were standing up because the seats were all taken. So the bus driver was bombing along and he drove over a huge speed bump. And me and my friends were seeing how long we could go without holding on to everything. Now, I have played this game before and I have a feeling I know how this game normally ends. And then Evie says, as you can imagine, we went flying on top of each other as he flew over the jump. It was extremely embarrassing and everyone stared at us. Now, I feel like I do this game more on tubes than buses because on the tube, you're normally standing up. And also, I wouldn't say I'm a germaphobe, but on a London tube, you don't really want to hold on to the handrail where other people have been touching and sneezing and coughing on it and snotting on. You know what I mean? Like, horse snot, cover me, I don't care. Dirt, mud, that kind of thing. But city germs, oh, that's where I crossed the line. Anyway, so yes, and yeah, I think we've all been there before. I don't know if that's happened to me on a bus. Definitely on the tube, and I've like landed on someone's lap. That was embarrassing. So anyway, that was Evie's comment. I also have a comment from, I'm really sorry, I'm going to pronounce your name wrong, but Kalania, I want to say. When I was a little kid, my worst fear was slime. Oh my gosh, if you were a kid in 2016 when slime was was it 2016, 2017, 2018? I just remember before the pandemic, slime. Oh no, maybe it was during the pandemic. I don't know, I can't remember. All the years blended into one. But do you remember when slime was a big thing, when everyone had like their little slime shops and all videos online were just people DIY how to make slime, at home slime kits, that kind of stuff. Well, anyway. They then say, I thought that it had toxic chemicals in it and I sniffed it. I thought if I sniffed it, I would get poisoned. One time I accidentally licked some slime and had a full-on panic attack because I thought I was going to be ill from it. Oh my goodness. I mean, it's probably not great for you to lick or eat slime. Don't eat slime, people. But oh my goodness, I feel like when you are, because in last week's podcast episodes as well, I was talking about all of my childhood fears, and I feel like when you're a kid, there are just some things that you really, it's probably like a survival instinct, isn't it, to just be naturally scared of certain things, or that's why kids are fussy eaters. Because it's supposed to be like a survival thing, so you don't eat things that are poisonous. But anyway, there we go. So yeah, I've never heard of someone who's scared of slime. This one, I actually laughed out loud. We're going to do 3 comments for comment of the week, because when I was reading them through, I actually like chuckled to myself out loud. And my dad was like, whatever that one is, you got to read that out. So this one is from Robin Anela and Anna Anela. Yeah, Robin and I'm just really sorry. The dyslexia is dyslexiaing. Anyway, when I was about 2, I used to be afraid of spoons or any cutlery that reflected my face. My mum told me that I threw any metal cutlery that came my way onto the floor. Love your podcast, Esme. They always brighten up my day. Flo. Well, thank you, Flo. That one really tickled me, because I don't know why. It just, people who are from my age and my generation, do you know what it made me think of? I grew up watching a show called Numberjacks, and there was a spoon in it called the Spooky Spoon, and for some reason recently my whole For You page has just been full of Numberjacks edits. So if anybody my age used to also watch Numberjacks, another childhood fear I have of mine was the number taker and the problem blob in that show. If you know, you know. Anyway, so thank you so much for, oh wait, there's another one. I'm sorry. Comment of the week. There are too many comments that I like. So this one also, I feel like this one was quite a good one actually. And this is from Ava. And Ava says, hey Esme, my fear is definitely mascots. They creep me out. And I had one for my 5th birthday party. I'm 11 now and I'm still scared of them, especially when I have to have pictures with them, because in my mind I'm thinking, who is the stranger in the suit? Which is fair enough. I also think that mascots are a little bit creepy. I remember at Arkham they had one of this horse, and my dad was like, go have a photo with it. And I was like, I don't like them. They creep me out. Anyway, that was comment of the week for this week. I'm trying to think of what comment, maybe I'll let you know at the end of today's podcast episode what comment of the week should be, because I'm going to be talking about, I've got lots of random things to catch you up on this week. So, of other things that have happened. So anyway, I know, you're going to be surprised. I went out, not really. I didn't have a wild time, but I went out Friday last week. When I mean out, I was out of my bed past 9 p.m. because I am a grandma. I love my 9 p.m. bedtime. I like getting into my bed, reading on my Kindle with a cup of tea, and that is a lovely night in for me. So anyway, my friends dragged me out. We had a girls' night. I mean, it wasn't a wild one. I was driver, and I also had an early bedtime because I had my triathlon the next day. I say early bedtime. I was in bed before midnight, therefore to my friends that does not count as out. Anyway, so we went for a lovely little pub dinner, and then afterwards we went to our local leisure centre, which sounds really sad, like Esme, what on earth? But for some reason, my little seaside town, our leisure centre, past 9 p.m, when all the kids get taken out, it pops off. You know, they've recently refurbished it. They've got the bowling lanes. They have like pool tables as well. And I walked in, I was like, this is where all the young people are. Because in my generation, nobody really goes clubbing. I mean, there aren't really any clubs anymore. I think our local club got closed down, which I'm not surprised about because it was a bit dodgy. But anyway, nobody goes clubbing anymore. Do you know what people do? They all go and play pool at our local leisure centre because they have a bar and everything. But anyway, so do you know what we did? They have karaoke rooms, and we thought, do you know what we should do for our girls' night? We should go and hire a karaoke room. So really, it was a very wholesome night out because we just went to a karaoke room. And anyway, it worked out quite well because there was a big group of us. So I think it was like £5 each, like split between us all. So that was perfect. We had a big group of us. I think there was like 9 of us in total, 9-10 of us. So anyway, hired out this karaoke room for an hour, and it was so much fun. Because the thing I hate about clubbing is it's like a small box with loads of strangers and you're all crammed in, it's dark and you can't hear each other, and it's got often like rubbish music. I don't know. But with a karaoke room, it's a room to yourself with the girls, no weirdos or creeps or strangers pressing up against you. And then also, you get to pick the music, you get a little microphone, you can have a little boogie. It's brilliant. We had so much fun. We literally felt like we were kind of probably like middle-aged mums. That's probably what we sounded like anyway. Now, the thing with this karaoke room, we thought, this room's surely got to be soundproof, because it was right next door to all of the people in their 20s playing pool. Let's just say we might have found out that it was not soundproof. I'll get onto that. First embarrassing thing that happens, as we were belting out to ABBA, full blast. Now, in the karaoke room machine kind of thing, there was a special button that you could press if you needed some assistance from the manager. Now, at some stage, while we were dancing and singing and having a blast, I think someone, not naming names, might have accidentally bumped onto that button and pressed it. So anyway, halfway through belting out our ABBA songs, what happens? The manager opens the door wide open while we're in the middle of singing, and the whole room outside of all the people playing pool and the arcade games stare at us. And it was so awkward, and the manager was like, hey, someone pressed the button, do you need any assistance? And we were like, no, that was an accident, sorry. And he was like, oh, I just need to come in and turn it off. Okay, enjoy. And it was such a mood killer. It was just like, oh no. Anyway, got back into it, did some more singing. Now, at the end of the night, I mean, once our hour was up, the guy came back and was like, hey guys, it's done now. You need to like basically kicking us out. And we were like, okay, fair enough. Now, before, I was like, guys, should we test if it's soundproof? This is such an Esme thing to do. I was like, oh, should we see if it's soundproof? Or like, I'm really intrigued to see if it's soundproof. So anyway, they all went out. I shut the door and I was like, I'm going to do a little scream and see if they can hear me. So I just went, I was like, just in case it's not soundproof, I'm not going to do it too loud. So I did a little, ah. And anyway, opened the door and they were like, yeah, it's not soundproof. So anyway, I was mortified because I just done a little scream. And everyone probably heard it in the whole leisure centre. And the second thing that we were all mortified by is that basically the whole time people heard us singing. Now, not only were we singing really loudly and playing the music really loudly, but also we had microphones as well. So our absolutely horrible singing voices were amplified. Now, since then, I did actually take some videos of us singing along, doing the karaoke. Some of them I thought, oh, that'll be cute. Put it on my little private Instagram story. That'll be good fun. And all of my friends were doing like the same thing, filming like a bit of videos for the memories. No, those videos are not seeing the light of day because, oh my goodness, we sound awful. I mean, us British girls, we have grown up for this moment. All of those assemblies, like school, I don't know if they do this in other schools, but in school assemblies at school, which is like in the morning when it's like, this is what's happening this week, blah, 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 teachers do little announcements. For some reason, school assemblies in the UK, you always sing. If you're at like a religious school, you're singing your hymns. If you're not, you're singing your like, I don't know, I'm going to work really hard, woo woo. I'm trying to think of what songs we sang at my primary school. But for some reason, like UK schools, you are trained up from a young age to sing as loud as you can. So just saying, UK concerts, we always pull it out of the bag, us Brits. We are singing loud and proud. Anyway, so yes, we did a lot of very loud, very out of tune singing that I apologise to everyone at my local leisure centre if your ears were bleeding after that. Anyway, what else did I do? Oh yeah. This week, I thought, my grandparents, they live by the coast, thought it was a lovely summer's day. Do you know what I'm going to do? Wake up early and go for a run along the seafront, which I actually had a very lovely time. It was good vibes, felt like I was on holiday. There is something about a sunny seaside, even in the UK. I just felt like I was in a foreign country. It was beautiful. It was great. So anyway, I was running along, and so the way that the seafront kind of works is, obviously you have the Pebble Beach, we're a Pebble Beach area. I don't want to expose where I live, but it's Pebble Beach. And then you have the kind of like the promenade, which is the bit where the people walk along, which back in the day, Victorians, they loved a little promenade. And then you have the bit that's even higher, which is basically a flood defense against the town because you don't want the town flooding, where there's also another kind of like little pedestrian kind of bit, and there's also a road as well. So anyway, I was running on the promenade on the lower bit next to the beach. My dad was on the higher bit on the road cycling along. Now, my dad and I were both going to my grandparents' house for breakfast. But bear in mind, my dad cycled like 30 miles or something. And it was such a coincidence that we just he ended up spotting me on my part. Like, he knew I was going for a run on the seafront, but we just ended up being at the exact same bit at the exact same time, which I was not expecting at all. So anyway, I was running along. Now, normally when I go for a run around my village, I always just wear one earbud. And because in the UK, cars drive on the left, it's safer for you as a pedestrian because all of our country lanes, they have no pavement or sidewalk or whatever you want to call it for humans. It's just one road. So I always run or walk on the right-hand side, so I can see the incoming traffic coming at me. And I always if I am wearing headphones, I have my music turned down very low, and I just have one headphone in on the side nearest the bushes and things, so I can listen out for cars, but also just have a little bit of music to keep me going. Now, anyway, when I'm on the seafront, I'm like, this is perfect. I can have both my headphones in. So I'm running along, both headphones in, and I am having a great time. I've got my tunes on. If you want to know what I was listening to, I was listening to some One Direction because, you know, I was 15 in 2016. I had some good songs. Anyway, I was running along, having a great time. And in the corner of my eye, I just see this cyclist in Lycra kind of waving. And I was like, I kind of heard him kind of like shouting. And I thought, who is this? I was going to say something not very nice then. Who is this man in Lycra shouting and jeering at me? I was like, who is this gammon head like shouting at me? Like that kind of thing. I honestly thought I was getting harassed. Or I was like, this guy is a bit disinhibited. Like, you wouldn't just go and shout at some woman on her own running along the seafront. I thought, I'm either getting harassed, catcalled, or whatever. Anyway, I was like, I'm just going to have my head down and keep on running and ignore it. I was like, he's far enough away that he's on the higher bit. Like, I'm just going to ignore it. And then I come to the realization when I kind of like look up and see in the corner of my eye, I know who this annoying man in Lycra is, and it is my father. So anyway, I take my headphone out and I'm like, oh, sorry, I was ignoring you. I thought I was getting harassed. So anyway, my dad was like, oh, Ez. And I was like, just listening to Harry Styles whispering in my ear. And I was like, what is going on? What is happening here? So anyway, yeah, I was very glad actually that it was my father in the end, because if it was a random man, I think I would have been quite scared. Because as I said before, little sleepy seaside town where everyone goes to retire, normally a Sunday morning as well, is quite a safe place to go for a run, because all the people on the beach are either people with families that have a baby that they're trying to calm down in their little pushchair, or it's just old people on a little morning stroll. So anyway, yeah, I was a bit surprised to have my dad shout at me. But anyway, went to my grandparents' house, had a lovely breakfast, got to see their doggy as well, who was very, very sweet, had some cuddles with her. But yeah, it was an overall very lovely and wholesome weekend. So anyway, on that note, I'm going to finish off today's podcast episode there. What should I do for comment of the week? We've talked about lots of different things. I want to hear your embarrassing singing stories. I feel like everyone's had a time where they've just been like singing along to themselves, or maybe they've had their headphones in, like, oh yeah, if you have any stories of when, because I feel like, guys, I embarrass myself enough on this podcast. I want to hear your embarrassing, I mean, we kind of talked about that a little bit last week, but I want to hear your embarrassing singing stories or headphone stories, because I feel like everyone has a story where they're listening to music and they think it's in their headphones and it's not, and you're in public and everyone can hear your music. But anyway, let me know in the comments. Also, I want to say a huge thank you to Red Post for sponsoring the podcast. Go and check out the new Lumia Autumn Winter range on their website, redpostequestrian.co.uk, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!